common factor. Another way of asking this is x plus 1 in both? Is there an x plus 1 in both of these terms? Answer is yes. Therefore, it is true.
Okay. Makes
Okay,
sense.
number 2 here, there are two types of perfect squared trinomials. I will write them both out here. A squared plus 2ab plus b squared, that becomes a plus b squared. A squared minus 2ab plus b squared becomes a minus b squared. This problem right here is referring to the left over here. So second term, second term, second term, is it always positive?
Oh, hold, I'm just writing this down.
Oh, sure, sorry. Yeah, get caught up here.
Doesn't look like it's always positive.
That's right. So that would be a false. It could be negative. The third
Oh,
term is always positive.
right. 13.
That's actually that one's actually a better question, but all right. So here we go. Next one here. A cubed minus b cubed. So this is called difference of cubes. Okay. So difference of cubes, a cubed minus b cubed becomes a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. So are the signs in the trinomial? The trinomial is over here on the right. Tri means 3. Trinity. Same
Right.
thing there. We got alternating signs. No, they're actually the same sign. So this one is
Right.
also false. There's also called a sum of cubes.
Just-
A cubed plus b cubed, a plus b, a squared minus ab plus b squared. So these actually are alternating down here.
Okay. So what would the top one be called when it's not
Difference.
alternate?
I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really have a name.
Okay.
Yeah. They're going to great lengths to like give you these questions.
All right.
All right, so difference between two square factors into conjugates. So this is a squared minus b squared. This becomes a minus b, a plus b. What makes these conjugates is the opposite signs or operators for operators here. So this one is true.
Okay.
All right, let's move along here to number 5. Number 5 here. All right, so you're looking for two numbers that multiply to -10, but add to +3. So two numbers that multiply to -10, but add to +3. -10 because that's the last one, 3 because that's the middle one. Can you try to come up with those numbers, please?
I can find something that would add to -10, but I don't know what would add to
Multiplies to
+3.
-10. So give me two numbers
Multiply,
that multiply to -10.
multiply, not addition. Okay. 5 times 2.
Okay, does that add to +3?
Mm, Actually, yeah, that
Well,
does.
it adds to -3.
That's
But if you
negative.
switch the signs, does that work?
Okay, now I'm remembering this. Yeah, remember
Okay,
this.
so that's the right ones. So what does this become? What are the two binomials?
It would be 5 um plus x squared, I believe.
X plus 5, X
X
minus 2.
plus, okay. Yep, 2. Okay, okay.
Is that okay?
Mm-hmm. Write that down
All right.
here. All right.
All right, so number 6, we're going to treat this one slightly differently. So I want you to get some practice here. I want you to look at this as a squared plus 4a plus 3. Forget about the b for a moment. And same idea here. I'm going to grab these words one more time. But this time you want to find two numbers that multiply to +3 and add to +4.
Okay.
What would those numbers be?
That multiplied to +3. 1 and 3.
1 and 3. So what would the binomials be this time based on the
Uh,
last one? Forget about the b, just based on what you just told me.
um, a plus 1 and then a plus 3.
Very good. A plus 1, a plus 3. And you might be wondering why I'm leaving the space there. It's because we're going to put the
Okay.
in.
All right.
That's sort of a shortcut, if you will.
Yeah. Saves a little time.
Yeah. All right. Number 7. Unfortunately, it's completely different than the other ones. So not super helpful, but it's okay. So this problem, I call it A not equal to 1 or grouping because the leading coefficient in front of the d squared is not a 1. It's bigger than 1. Could be negative, so you can't just think it's bigger than 1. So in this problem, you multiply the 2 times the 4. So 2 times the 4 is 8. This time, it's a little bit different. You're looking for two numbers that multiply to +8, but add to -9. So that 8 comes from here. The 9 is still the middle coefficient there. So could you find those two numbers for me? It multiplies to 8, but adds to a -9.
Okay. Okay, so I have 8 and 1, so I'm thinking both could be negative and it would cancel out for it to be a +8.
Yeah, that's correct. So we're gonna break apart the -9d into -8d minus 1d.
Hmm,
Is that okay? -9d becomes -8d minus 1d.
right. Let me write that down. Okay.
So now we're going to do what's called grouping. This is the grouping part. What is the greatest common factor of those two things that I've underlined? 2d squared minus 8d.
Common factor. 2.
Okay, anything else? What about the d's?
Um, the D squared.
Yes, d, or just d, just hit plain d.
Just plain D. Okay.
Just plain d, because there's a d in both. Okay,
Right.
so inside parentheses here is d minus 4, and then you write d minus 4 over here off to the right.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Just getting that down.
All right. Next thing
Okay.
here is that we want to get back to minus d plus 4. So see how the signs are different? Like it's a negative in front of the d and a plus in front of the 4. You're going to put a negative 1 out in front here. The idea
Right.
is that if you were to multiply in, you would get back to the previous line.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, these both have a d minus 4 in it. That's kind of like the first question we looked at with the common term. So you factor that out from both, and you write what's left over, the 2d minus 1 and the minus 1.
Okay.
That is everything for that problem.
Making sense. 2D minus 1. Okay.
All right, let me know when you're ready for number 8.
Okay. Let me just. Okay. All right. X. What would it be? X with power.
Okay, so for number 8, can you read me the formula from number 4, difference of squares?
Formula. Difference of squares. I don't. Well, I'm trying to remember the difference. We did it.
Okay, so it's going to sound harsh. I wrote this
Right.
down for your benefit. I already know it. I don't need to
Right.
write it down. I can remember it, rolling out of bed after a car accident. Like I know this probably forever. You, the math student, need to write it down.
Okay.
That way you can remember it. Same with these previous ones. You should write these down. Do you have these down?
Have them partially, yes. Have
Okay.
them here. Okay, good.
I remember you were doing note cards for a while. This is great note card stuff. I mean, there's a million reference sheets on the internet. Um, I want you to get these down. We're going to use these all for rest day. So let me know when you get the difference of cubes and sum of cubes down, and then we'll do the difference of squares.
Okay, got the sums of cubes and
Okay.
then different of cubes. Okay.
All right. So now let's get the difference of two squares.
Hold up, I need the difference of squares, yeah. The difference of cubes
Okay.
equals a minus b. Okay. That's okay.
Now I'm sorry, difference of squares. There is no sum of squares. It's sum of squares.
There is no sum of squares. Okay.
There's no sum of squares. Yeah, just difference of squares.
B. Okay.
Right. So back to number 8. I have the same question. What is the formula for difference of squares from number 4?
A cubed minus B cubed equals
Nope.
A
Nope.
minus
Number 4. Number 4 with difference of squares.
difference of, oh, I did cubed. Okay, different. A uh wait, what is it? A squared minus B squared equals A minus B. A plus B. I think that's all I have. Yeah.
Good. Very good. Okay. So I'm going to help here. This is really x squared squared minus 1 squared. So this x to the 4th minus 1 is really x squared, and then you square it because the square squared is 4. 1 squared or 1 to any power is 1. Okay.
All right.
So this in parentheses is your A, this in parentheses is your B. So I
Okay.
want you to follow the A minus B form here and tell me what to write in these parentheses. You're replacing A and B with the things in parentheses. So tell me what to write here, please.
X squared minus 1.
Good,
X squared plus 1.
good. Okay, now unfortunately, you got to keep going here. This is also difference of squares.
Okay.
So this time, it's now x that's being squared and 1 that's being squared. So I know it's a little bit odd because you maybe didn't expect to do it twice, but forget about this on the right. What does x squared minus 1 become? What goes in parentheses now?
Ooh, minus.
Your A is what's inside parentheses, your B is what's inside parentheses there.
Uh, it would be X minus 1,
Okay.
and then X plus 1.
Yes. Good. All right. So now back to our original problem here. So we had it this way. We had it that x to the 4th minus 1 is x squared minus 1, but we're going to replace the x squared minus 1 with x minus 1, x plus 1.
Okay, just write all that down.
Yeah.
All right. Oof. Okay.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. On to number 9 now. 9 is sum of cubes. Can you give me the formula for sum of cubes?
Here we go. The difference of cubes.
Sum of cubes. Sum
Um,
means addition.
it was, I think it was like the same as different cubes, like A cubed plus B cubed. I had it here. I think I have it on this here.
Okay, I'll go back if you need to write it down.
There we go. Yeah, some cubes. All right. We finish that.
If I'm ever moving too fast, Josh, you're the customer. You tell me, hey, Matthew, you're moving too fast. I need more time.
All right.
You are the customer. It's what you need, want to help you.
Okay. Thumbs. Cubes. Let's keep there. Okay. So number 9 here.
So what I'm looking, yeah, so if you got that down, I just was hoping you could tell me the formula for sum of cubes.
A cubed plus B cubed equals A plus B. And then in another parentheses, A squared minus AB plus B squared.
So now you have to figure out what A and B are. So you have to basically figure out what's in parentheses. Okay. So y to the power of 3 is y cubed. What number cubed gets you back to 27?
7.
Say that again.
I believe 7, right?
That's way too large. 7 times 7 times 7 is like 343.
Right. Oh yeah.
Let's try another one.
Um, so what three numbers connect to 27? Calculator.
So it's 3. So this is your A, this is your B. So use the formula. Use the formula here and tell me what goes in parentheses.
Y plus 3. Right, okay, y plus 3, and then y cubed.
Nope, nope. What did
No,
that say? What did you write? You said A squared. What is A?
is y. A is y.
Okay, so it's gonna be Y squared.
Y squared minus y3. No,
3Y. Yep. Switch the order.
plus 3 squared.
And what is 3 squared? What is 3 times 3?
27.
3 times 3?
Oh no, 3 times 3. 9.
9. Good.
No, yes.
Okay.
Let me write all that down.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Got it?
Mhm.
All right. So number 10. Number 10 doesn't look like it, but it's actually sum of cubes.
Okay. I believe I have that here.
Or sorry, about to do this wrong. V squared cubed plus V squared cube. So you're, and this, I'm gonna do this one for you. This one's really odd. This is your A, this is your B.
Okay.
So it becomes V squared plus V squared, D to the fourth plus D squared V squared, plus V to the fourth. And sorry, there's a minus in here. Here it is. And that's it.
Okay. Okay. Oh.
There's nothing more to do, even
Right.
though it might look like it.
Interesting how some problems they can have 30 steps and others just 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Ooh. Okay.
All right. Any
Okay.
any questions before we move on to quiz 4?
So I remember asking, how, like, I think last lesson, how can you tell the difference? Do you just have to go through like let's see if it's different as cubes or different as squares and just determine what makes
Yeah,
sense because
there's certain things that help you to analyze them. If you look at that grouping of problems that we just did on that page, let me grab those. So like I'm looking at 5, 6, and 7. Do you say that they have 3 terms?
right.
That's one indicator. 8, 9, and 10 have 2 terms. That's one indicator.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, it's you're looking for patterns, and
Okay.
it's a big, it's important to be able to recognize them.
Yeah. Because you don't want to be wasting time going through all of the formulas, seeing what
Yes,
makes
exactly,
sense.
exactly. So like in some schools, they do. I think it's a really good thing to do is they do a homework assignment where you just identify the type. You don't actually solve it.
Right.
So you just you know get 20 problems and go through them until you know exactly what the type is.
I'll try to have to do that
Yeah,
because it would make it much quicker to finish problems.
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so for this problem here, number one on your new assignment here, I'm gonna grab two snips. So it's like a transformation. It's like the before and the after. So what is missing from the before, or what is missing with the after?
Negatives.
More than that,
More than that.
what's
Okay. One. I don't see any ones. Don't see. Don't see any negative ones.
right? So this x minus one is considered a like that's a thing together. It's not minus one by itself. There's an x with it. It's in parentheses.
Right. Okay.
Okay, that's
Um.
what's missing. That's what essentially are canceling out.
Okay.
All right, so
That's
now when it says what values are excluded, you're setting what is canceled not equal to 0.
okay.
So see how you canceled out an x minus 1 there?
Okay. Yeah.
So you have to solve that for x. You're going to add 1 to both sides, x not equal to 1.
Right.
So which answer is that?
That would be B.
Try again.
Oh, C.
Yeah.
Okay. So that makes sense.
It's common actually on standardized tests to every once in a while have the right answer and then mark the wrong one.
Mhm.
They suppose they make up for it by thinking that, I'm sure you know, guess the works the other way too. All right. Common denominator. So the most basic way to find a least common denominator is to just multiply the two bottoms. That's the most common way.
Hmm. 3W. Okay, that would be of that calculator you sent me before. Don't we
Which
go?
answer is that?
Oh, the A.
It is A. Yeah.
Go back here. No. Yeah, okay. All right.
Okay. So it says that what is the first step of dividing two rational expressions? So let's say you were dividing 1/2 by 3/2. The first thing you would do is write this. What happened to this that I've circled?
They got reversed.
Yeah, they say invert. I like
Mhm.
reciprocal.
Mhm.
So it's invert the second. the second fraction.
Right. Invert, okay.
Any
Fancy words.
questions on that before we move on?
Um, for 2, I was kind of wondering, where did 3 come from? It
It
was
came
like,
from the, there's 3W here.
oh, okay.
You just
I didn't
take
know.
both bottoms.
Right.
That's
Okay.
kind of the general way. It's not the best way. It's not the worst either.
Right. Okay. Okay. Makes sense.
Right. So next thing here is we're going to start looking at these problems. We're actually going to first do the excluded values. So you set the bottom not equal to 0. So in this case, 3C not equal to 0.
Okay.
And then you solve. It may look weird, but how do you undo multiplication by 3?
The multiplication.
How do you
That'd
undo
be
multiplication?
division.
Divide by 3.
Right.
So C cannot equal 0.
Zero. Okay.
You actually always do the excluded values first. I know it's written second, but you should do it first.
Okay.
It's like checking for the ingredients before you make a pie.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
I'm only thinking of that because I recently bought some ingredients here for doing pie.
Right.
Okay. Um, all right. So I've rewritten the fraction kind of in this table so that you could see how things line up. You got the numbers. Where's my mouth? There's numbers, B's, and C's. Okay. Do you
Mhm.
see any cancellations, reductions? What do you see?
B and C. Uh, 6 minus 3. Or
You're
yes.
dividing. You're dividing. So
I'll
that's
divide
two.
them.
That's
That'll
two.
be 2.
Okay.
So it'll be 2D squared.
Okay. What happens to the C's?
They get canceled.
They do, because they're the same. Very good. All right. That is your final answer, 2D squared.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
Um,
You don't have to. I just sort of don't want to proceed.
right. So if I were to do these type of problems, I should do it in like a table way to see it, um,
Yes.
see all the numbers and letters easier.
Yeah, we'll do that for number 6 as well. We'll do the
Okay.
same idea. Yeah, I found it works better.
Right. You
I
can
mean,
see everything.
I mean, one level of getting some extra help is just someone that can show you how to do the problem. Another is where you're getting like new ways of doing things that help you
Right.
shortcut it. Okay, we're going to do the excluded values first. So you set the bottom not equal to 0. In this case, you set both of them not equal to 0, and you have to solve. So you have to undo, subtraction, addition, whatever you got to solve. Could you solve those for us, please?
Would be plus 1, uh, x, uh, does not equal 1.
Okay,
So,
so x does not equal 1. I like that.
and
How about the
then
other one?
that would be -7, which would be x does not equal -7.
That's
Or,
right. So there's your excluded values, 1 and -7.
okay.
All right.
And
Now the
then,
next kind of strategy here is you have to factor the top and the bottom as needed. The the bottom is already factored.
right.
All right. So the top, x squared minus x, you see a GCF. Is there
Uh,
something common about the x squared and the x?
um, 1,
Nope. One's
no,
always common. I mean, that doesn't help.
right. Okay.
Is there an x in both?
Yes, x and both.
So x times what gets you back to x squared minus x? Like what? What goes in parentheses here is such that when you multiply and you get an x squared and then minus x.
It would be x minus x.
Can't be that. I mean, x times x gives you the x squared. The
Then
reason it
what would
can't
be
be x, I mean, x minus x is 0. That would go away.
right?
What do you multiply by to get yourself?
One.
1. There it is. And then on the bottom here, we have x minus 1, x plus 7. You see anything that is exactly the same on the top and the bottom?
X minus one. Top and bottom.
So those cancel, and you're left with x over x plus 7.
Okay. Right. That's a okay. Back to so for the top, we would have to assume we would factor top and the top.
Yeah, as much as you can.
All right. Okay.
And there might be more or less to do depending on the problem. All
Mhm.
right, so let's go to number 6.
Mhm.
Grab a snip of that. So what is the first thing that we do in these types of problems?
We set the bottom to 0.
Yeah, so basically anything with a letter, and this one's a little bit more difficult, but you set 3a squared not equal to 0, b not equal to 0, c not equal to 0, and 8w not equal to 0.
Right.
And then you have to solve all of those.
Okay. Would be so assume we will have to divide by all since
Well, the first one you can divide by 3, so you get a squared not equal to 0.
okay.
Basically, a cannot be 0. I mean, you could take a square root of both sides, but that's what that's saying. B and C are already solved for. How about the last one here?
We could divide by 8.
Okay, so
And then,
W not equal to 0. So we're basically saying A, B, C, and W not equal to 0.
right. B, C, W not equal to 0.
All right, so I'm gonna try to organize this for you. 4 times 6, 3 times 8, A squared, B, B, C, C, and a W. So keep in mind, like, stuff might stay on the top or the bottom, depending on what cancels.
Right. 3, 8. Okay.
And there's really a 1 here. Like it's not like it's 0. It's not devoid of anything. Could be a 1.
Okay. Okay. It's an invisible one.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So we can cancel the B's and the C's. And then we were left with 4 and 6, the 8. Hold up. Left with 24. What is it there? Okay, so 24 and 24. And then right,
And those
24 and
cancel.
20. Yeah. Oh, the B's and the C's cancel.
Tell me what goes on the top and what goes on the bottom.
Okay. 24, should I multiply the 4 and 6 or
You
leave it
can,
as it
but
is?
what is 3 times 8?
24
Okay, so what happens when you have 24 over 24? What does that reduce to?
cancels.
Yeah.
Cancel that. So then it would be 1 and 1. So that'd be
So
2.
you're multiplying tops.
Multiply.
What what goes on the top? You're
Uh,
multiplying. not adding.
1,
Okay, it goes on the bottom.
but A squared W.
Good. Very good. All right, good job. You
Oh,
are making progress, even though maybe it doesn't seem like it.
right.
Sometimes it's slow and painful. Okay, number 7 here. You got to set all of the bottom not equal to 0.
That would be, what's that? +2 would be, so then -2. W does not equal 0. W for the -1. Right. W does not equal 0. +9. And then W does not equal 0 again? No.
It's not 0 for any of them. You have to undo addition and subtraction as needed.
Right. So W plus 2 minus 2 would be W does not equal 0. Okay. W plus 1 minus 1. W does not equal 0. W minus 9 plus 9. W does not equal 0. W minus 11 plus 11. Seems like all of them are W does not equal 0.
How do you
Um,
undo addition?
Subtraction.
Okay, so none of them are 0.
Oh, wasn't subtracting the 2. I mean, for the 0.
Yeah,
Okay. That'd be -1. That'd be +9, and then +11. Okay. 0. W does not equal -2. I believe so. And then W does not equal -1. W does not equal 9. W does not equal 11.
good. Really good. Okay, can't make up the rules as we go. We got to follow the same old rules. So a lot of students like this part. If it's the same on the top and bottom, it cancels. Doesn't matter like where it is. Doesn't matter if it's like top left and bottom right. If it's the same on the top and the bottom, they cancel. So what do you see that cancels?
Ooh. On the top?
It has to be the same on the top and the bottom to cancel.
Okay, so W
You see
plus 2 and 11, W minus 11.
anything else?
W minus 9. That's it.
All right. So what is left over on the top?
W minus 3.
And what's left
W
over?
W plus 1.
Good. There's your answer.
Wow.
Okay. We're almost there. See if I
Oh.
can rotate this. Ugh, darn. All right. All right. So we are running significantly out of time here. So I'm gonna have to jump in to help with this one. We probably aren't gonna get to 9. So first thing you do
Okay.
is you factor. Right. Once you factor, you set those equal to 0 or not equal to 0. If they're duplicated, you don't have to redo them. So you'll find that V does not equal 2 or -2. So the way this is written here, they like really increase the difficulty on you for this last two. Okay, we talked about
Well,
this earlier. You change multiple division into multiplication by what's called the reciprocal. And then you look for stuff to cancel now. So I'll just show that here. V plus 2, V plus 2, 14 and 7 becomes 2.
right.
The cube becomes a 2. That V goes away with that to make a 3. And here's what's left over for this. So you have 2k squared V plus 2 over V minus 2 V cubed. Let's go ahead and get that down. I know it's a lot of writing. These get to be very, very lengthy.
Right. Okay. Okay. There. Okay.
All right, make sure you get all that down. We